The Home Ministry and the Human Resources Ministry have agreed to allow employers in Malaysia to source for migrant labour from 15 countries to work in the nation's manufacturing, construction and services sectors. This was after a joint committee meeting of the two ministries on the management of foreign workers. Quoting Home Minister Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin, Bernama reports that the two ministries are also looking at the appropriateness of allowing foreign workers in all sectors, including the subsectors that have been frozen. He said that a decision was made to allow low-skilled migrant workers to be hired in the Swiftlet nest industry as well as in the scrap items, laundry and port warehouse subsectors. Also approved today was a proposal to enable the construction labour exchange to fully manage the entry of foreign construction workers. The meeting also agreed to consider applications for short-term permits for foreign workers to carry out infrastructure construction works and works in prohibited areas and places. Meanwhile, the Human Resources Ministry and the Immigration Department are to hold immediate talks with Indonesia to resolve the freeze on workers from the country. Bank Negara Malaysia is reportedly giving foreign insurers until the end of next year to either reduce stakes in their local ventures or contribute to the My Salam initiative, Bloomberg reports, citing people with knowledge of the matter. According to its sources, foreign insurers that do not comply with the ownership limits by the deadline will have to pay into the Free Takaful Health Protection Scheme, which was piloted by the federal government in partnership with the private insurance industry in 2018. Previously known as the B40 Health Protection Fund, the scheme provides coverage to lower-income households needing treatment for critical illnesses. The report said insurance companies that contribute to the fund will be deemed to have complied with the ownership limit. Great Eastern Holdings is the only foreign insurer to have publicly announced a contribution to date, pledging 2 billion ringgit as initial seed funding in 2019. BNM had in 2017 provided the deadline of end June 2018 for all insurers in Malaysia to comply with a 30% local shareholding guideline, but that fell by the wayside following a change in government that year. Convenience store operator 7-Eleven Malaysia Holdings is said to be weighing exiting its pharmacy chain. Citing people with knowledge of the matter, Bloomberg reports that the company is working with an advisor on the potential divestment of Caring Pharmacy Group, which is attracting interest from some Japanese parties. It said 7-Eleven Malaysia could seek a valuation of about $400 million, about 1.78 billion ringgit in a deal. The People told Bloomberg that deliberations are ongoing and 7-Eleven Malaysia could decide not to proceed with the plan. Founded in 1994 by 5 pharmacists, Caring had over 120 stores across Malaysia as of 2019 and was traded on Bursa Malaysia for 6 years before being acquired by 7-Eleven Malaysia in 2020 for 292 million ringgit. 7-Eleven Malaysia is the biggest 24-hour convenience store operator in Malaysia, and its largest shareholder is Berjaya Corp founder Tan Sri Vincent Tan, who controls about 44.7% of the stock. Skomi Group and RC Asia Engineering (RCA), a privately held railway track specialist, have mutually agreed to discontinue their joint venture after the agreement lapsed last Friday. The ailing oil and gas service provider said delays in commencement of the tenders of potential projects were to blame for the decision to scrap the JV. In a Bursa Malaysia filing today, the PN17 company said there has been no material progress on initiatives originally planned to be pursued by the two companies. Both parties remain in talks on pursuing other forms of collaboration that leverages on their respective strengths. The two companies had on July 15th last year entered into a JV agreement to collectively bid for tenders for construction of railway stations, tracks or other related railway infrastructures. Under the collaboration, Skomi was to own a 51% stake in the JV company and RCA the remaining 49% equity interest. Trading of Skomi's shares was suspended on April 20th following Bursa Securities' rejection on April 11th of its request for a further extension of time to submit its regularization plan. Ecoscience International saw its share price falter on its maiden trading day on Bursa Malaysia's ACE market. Ecoscience opened at a discount at 29 sen against its IPO price of 30 sen and ended trading at 26 sen. At 26 sen, it has a market capitalization of 88.4 million ringgit. It saw some 66.79 million shares changing hands, trading between a high of 29.5 sen and a low of 25.5 sen. The company raised a total of 24.7 million ringgit from the exercise, of which 5 million ringgit has been allocated for business expansion in Indonesia and 1 million ringgit for the growth of its environmental and energy efficiency business. 7.9 million ringgit has been earmarked for working capital and 7 million ringgit for repayment of bank borrowings. The remaining 3.8 million ringgit is for listing expenses. Ecoscience Executive Director Pan Kamwan said the company sees growth opportunities in Indonesia, which comes with an advantage in terms of shipment costs. There aren't any issues with labour shortages either. Meanwhile, Business Development Director Ting Jin Swan said the company's business is not directly related to the development of the palm oil market, so it's remaining positive on its business despite Indonesia's decision to remove the palm oil export levy until August 31st.